Hello there and welcome to Star Wars 1000. So today we'll be talking about the problem with the Grand Inquisitor, specifically on the Kenobi series. Look, I've really been enjoying the Kenobi series so far. I've liked all 3 episodes to a certain degree. I think they've all been, in general, a pretty good set of episodes, and so far I feel like the show is pretty good. With that said, one of the things I've kind of disliked about the show so far is how they've handled the Grand Inquisitor. The Grand Inquisitor is one of my all-time favorite Star Wars characters, and it was so cool that we were finally going to see him in live action. But the thing is, we barely see him. He gets stabbed in episode 2, and so far, it looks like he's not going to be coming back for the rest of the series. And if he does, it's going to be probably near the end of the show. And also make it seem like the Grand Inquisitor can just be taken over by any of the other Inquisitors, and it's just... I wanted to see all the Inquisitors and how all of them were like and their dynamic with one another. I don't want to just focus on just like 2 Inquisitors. They're mainly focusing on the 3rd sister and the 5th brother. And I want them to explore the other Inquisitors. And they have another Inquisitor there too. This other female Inquisitor that doesn't say anything really. She only has said a few words. Like, I'm glad that they are exploring the Inquisitors. And I find the 5th brother and Reva just to be fine. But there's so many other Inquisitors. Where are they at? And why aren't they exploring all of their dynamics? And why did they have to take the Grand Inquisitor out? I don't really understand the point of why he's not even there. I think he should be the secondary main villain behind Vader. Then after the Grand Inquisitor, we can explore characters like Reva, and then we can explore the other Inquisitors. But it seems like they took the Grand Inquisitor out to focus on the 5th brother and the 3rd sister, but it's just like I want to see them all interact. But it is what it is. It's just a little problem I think I'm having with the series. I think there was like no reason to have the Grand Inquisitor be taken out in the first place. I think he could have just be the secondary main villain because he's the Grand Inquisitor, but instead he's just not going to be there for quite a while. Maybe he'll be in the next episode, but it seems like he's not going to really be a focus of the series. It seems like it's gone. According like with the villains, it's like Kenobi we focus on first, which is obviously, then we focus on Vader, then we focus on Reva, then we focus on the 5th brother, and then it's everyone else. And I think it should be Kenobi, Vader, the Grand Inquisitor, Reva, then everyone else. And then I want to see all their dynamics and how the Inquisitors really operate, instead of just focusing on 2 Inquisitors when there's like many more that we could be focusing on and seeing cool fight scenes, you know? There's so much they could have done with the Grand Inquisitor in this series. Like, he's such an interesting character. But instead, we don't focus on the Grand Inquisitor. And I wanted to see how Vader and the Grand Inquisitor would have reacted, how they would have acted with each other. It's so interesting, their dynamic in the comics, and I wanted to see that in live action. And it's just like, it's not there. Instead, we're just focusing on the weaker Inquisitors, and we're focusing on their competition to become the Grand Inquisitor, and apparently that's just a baton that just handed down to people, and it's just like, I don't know, I think I'm not a really big fan of the Grand Inquisitor not being in the series. I think he should be the secondary main villain behind Vader, and then focus on all the other characters. I think they could have still really focused on Reva and the 5th brother while having the Grand Inquisitor there. I think I just don't understand the purpose of taking him out of the show. I hope he comes back before the last episode. I want to see a fight scene with him. He's that badass, you know? At least he's not dead, because the writer did say that they just didn't want to they're not going to break canon, so no one should be worried about that. And I wasn't worried about that. I was just disappointed to see the Grand Inquisitor go, and the way he went was just quite disappointing in my opinion. I don't have any other problems with the Grand Inquisitor. I never had a problem with the way he looked. I thought he looked pretty cool, and I was excited to see him in the series, but instead he's just sidelined for the rest of the series, or for at least a few episodes, which hopefully he comes back and hopefully he kicks some ass. I've also really enjoyed Rupert Friend's performance as the Grand Inquisitor so far, but he's no Jason Isaacs, but still pretty good performance by him. Since it looks like we're not going to be seeing much of the Grand Inquisitor, I hope we see him in another Star Wars TV show. So, to wrap up the video, may the Force be with you always.